Today we talk about my favorite topic in astrology, which is about past lives and present lives and what you have to develop in this life. Or if you do not believe in past lives, then you can take it what you come with naturally talented with in this life, what you're born naturally talented, or what you develop naturally in your early age, probably in the first 20 to 30 years in your life, versus what you have to develop later in life. And this is indicated, this most important indication in your horoscope. There is nothing more important in your horoscope than the position of Ketu and Rahu, or as they're known in Western astrology, South Node and North Node of the Moon. They're the reason the person incarnates back in the Earth, comes back to Earth to learn the lesson of these planets, or these points as we call them in astrology. So if you learn what you have to focus on this life, you will have it so much more clearer picture about your path in life and about what's good for you and what you have to let go of. And usually Ketu, or the South Node, will indicate what we were really good in past life with, what we focus in past life, where we feel confident. So usually the place where Ketu is placed in our horoscope will show us where we have more natural talent or skill, or where we feel more confident in or we're just better in the first part of life. And Rahu will show us what we have to develop in this life, what we haven't focused in past lives, if you don't believe in past lives, in the early part of your life, and what you will develop later on in life, usually in the second part of life after 35, 40 onwards. So you have a bit of difficulties where Rahu is, in the areas of life where Rahu indicates, because Ketu, you also have some boredom in the house of where Ketu indicates, because it's something you've already learn how to use it, learn how to be good at, so they're not easy positions, but they're very interesting because it will give you such depth of understanding about yourself. And what I want you to go is, I want you to go to my website astrolada.com, go to my birth chart calculator, and I want you to, if you know your time of birth, enter it correctly, then you'll be able to see the house positions of Ketu and Rahu, or the South Node and the North Node. And if you don't know your time of birth, then just look at the sign position of Rahu and Ketu. The sign position will be given underneath on the table, where it will say Ketu is in Aries or Ketu is in Libra. Rahu is always the opposite sign. The South Node is always opposite the North Node. Because if you have developed something in the past life, the opposite you haven't much developed, And when you get that chart, or if you're using Western chart to get this, but if you're using mine, this is what you're gonna get. For instance, you might get Ketu here, and Rahu will be here in the 10th, 4th sign, 10th sign. But I want you to take a look this time of the house position. You can have the houses are indicated with Roman numericals. So you can have it house 3 and house 4 in the 4th sign together. So basically Ketu will, if the sign is indicated by one of the squares, each square is one sign. And what the sign is, you can see from the table underneath. So you can see which sign Ketu is in, which sign Rahu is in, and you will see that there is also Roman numericals. There is the house cuffs that are inside. It's a bit difficult, but I just want you to pay attention to these Roman numericals. So if you have Ketu with the 3rd and 4th house cups, you'll have Rahu with the 9th and 10th house cusp in the opposite. So I want you to listen the video which says North Node in 10th house, or North Node in 9th house. Both of these videos, because I'll be indicating them by the position of the North Node, always Rahu in 10th house or Rahu in 9th house. And you will learn what your karmic duties are in this life, what you have to focus on in this life, what you have to learn to let go of, which is Ketu usually. It's really amazing. It's the best part of astrology. What happens if you have the planet Rahu, or the North Node of the Moon, in the 12th house, or in the sign of Pisces, which corresponds energetically to the 12th house, because it is the 12th sign in astrology, the last sign. And if you have the South Node, Ketu in Virgo, or the 6th house, because it's the 6th sign, it corresponds to the 6th house, so they have very similar influence, very similar meanings if you see them. So basically we start with Ketu. We chose what you focused on in past lives, or the first part of your life, what you feel comfortable with, and you kind of have a natural skill for, and you have a tendency to fall back on this, on what the sixth house signifies, you know. And then we'll go into Rahu, which will show us what you have to develop. Well, Ketu in the sixth house shows that in a past life, you very much learned how to be of service and to work. The sixth house is the house of service and work. And material practical things, solving material practical problems, dealing with debts, dealing with everything which is about survival. It's about feeding our body, it's about taking care, fulfilling our responsibility to keep our body alive on this planet Earth. You know, these are the most basic survival skills we have. Keeping us fed, keeping us dressed, paying our debts as well, sixth house, you know, being practical, working, giving, without work, who can survive? It's very rare occasions, you know, this is the main thing. This is the karmic debt we have to pay as well. And the karmic debt, the minimal requirement is at least to, you know, to survive on this earth anyway. And these people were survivors. They're really good sixth house or Ketu in Virgo. They're very good planners from past life. When they'll work long hours as well. Sometimes they can even be the early part of their life workaholics, but they'll be very good service people. They'll focus a lot of fulfilling all these practical material things in their life because they had a lot of struggles with survival in the past life, and they managed to overcome those. So they feel quite confident in the early part of their life about work, about service. They're not afraid of hard work. They're not afraid of the difficult realities of life. They know that they'll cope. They know they will survive somehow, you know. Material life doesn't scare them so much. But what can happen is that these people can forget about, they haven't developed well their 12th house, because 6th house is service and work, 12th house is, or Pisces, is relaxation, is the opposite, is relaxation, letting go, not having to do something, letting go and letting go. Not always planning something, making something with your mind always. 6th house is when you act there, you always use your human intelligence to arrange, to plan things. These people are really good with plans, you know, Ketu in Virgo, and with fulfilling and making these things happen and running their life. And usually I have a couple of friends with this position. They're always running, doing something. One of them doesn't even work, but she's always, when I call her, she has 10 errands ahead. So these people are always trying to arrange their material world, you know. And actually this can make them break down, or they work too much or whatever. They have to learn to develop the north node in this life, which is letting go, which is relaxing, which is having pleasure, which is having fun. So it's very good for these people to develop some hobbies, even if they're not very good at it. Just do it so you can learn to escape from those responsibilities. Life is not all about work. The 12th house is probably the most important house in astrology and Pisces, because it's the sign of liberation. And we come incarnate on life, and we have to keep our bodies going in our responsibilities on earth to keep ourselves alive, only because when we pay back our karmic debt, which is the 6th house, we'll be able to be liberated, and we don't have to anymore incarnate. But on a more mundane level, you know, the Christ cells will be born with us. Pisces is the sign of Christ. That's why Christians, they have the sign like a Pisces, you know, a little fish, because Pisces is the sign of Christ consciousness. In order for the Christ consciousness to be born in us, we have to, he has to be born through Virgo, the Virgin, the opposite sign. So through fulfilling our responsibilities, we'll be able to get to illumination, or through we get to unity with the divine, you know, through oneness with God, through developing this Christ consciousness. But as I said, this is a bit too far away for some of you, a bit too philosophically. So let me stick to the basics. 6th house, so you've paid a lot of your debts in the past life. In this life, you need to learn to relax more. You need to learn. It doesn't mean stop working and say, that's it, I'm just going to watch TV from now on, or I'm just going to read books, or I'm just going to listen to music, or I'm just gonna go from holiday to holiday, or I'm just gonna spend lots of money. 12 house is the house of spending. Actually, this happens in a lot of people. Before they balance, the two polars of work and relaxing, and work and non-work or relaxation, usually they go from one extreme to another. Either work too hard, or just give up and go into drugs, or go into any kind of escape from reality, from the harsh realities of 6th house, 12th house, into a fairyland, or start spending like crazy. I've seen people with this position. Two, it balances itself. In middle age, from late 30s, early 40s, around that, you start finding the balance. Usually, what I've seen is that in earlier years, from young age, they start working a lot, they're so focused on work, and then they have a breakdown point when they don't get any pleasure. It's only about work. They've lost the capacity to enjoy things. They don't do it, the work, they do the work for the sake of work, for the sake of fulfilling the responsibility, not for the sake of finding some pleasure in it after that, learning how to relax, And they break down, and then might either go completely into just overdoing these things, like spending, like escapism, drug TV, whatever, daydreaming, meditation. It's all of these things, going to sanitariums, or going to spas, or going to ashrams, whatever it is. But you need to find the balance. So you still have to, you shouldn't forget completely the 6th house. Service and work, life without service and work is not a happy life. But for these people, they have to do the service and work because of the pleasure they'll get out of after that. Because they can free some time for their hobbies, for their healthy ways of relaxing and escaping, healthy ways of escape. Don't go to both extremes. Just balance everything. That's what it is about, balancing. And maybe learning some kind of meditation, maybe focusing on spiritual matters will be helpful rather than on practical things. Focusing on developing Piscean qualities. I don't mean lost and confused. I mean more spiritual, more easygoing. Let go. Don't always try and organize everything like Virgo does. Sometimes you have to have periods when you're organizing, but you have to learn how to let go and let God, relax, So I hope you understood this. I enjoy this position. It's more painful before the person starts balancing it, when he jumps either to fully not doing anything and relaxing escapism, or to working all the time hard. But it's an interesting position, and you can balance it and learn to enjoy and to relax things. To enjoy and to relax and to let go sometimes. Don't control everything.